The Vorthan armada stretched across the void like a constellation of death, their bioorganic vessels pulsing with bioluminescent energy patterns that had terrorized civilizations for millennia. Admiral Kithara watched the primitive human fleet approach through her flagship's neural interface, her mandibles clicking in amusement. "Look at them," she transmitted to her war council, her thoughts rippling through the collective consciousness. Metal boxes held together by welds and desperation. Their largest vessel is barely the size of our escort frigates. The human fleet consisted of 12 ships, angular, utilitarian craft that looked more like industrial equipment than warships. At their head flew the UES Defiance, a battleship that appeared almost crude compared to the elegant curves of Vorthan bioships. Its hull was scarred from previous battles, patches of different metals creating a patchwork appearance that spoke of hasty repairs. Commander Marcus Webb stood on the Defiance's bridge, studying the enemy formation. The Vorthans had already destroyed 3 human colonies in the past month, each attack preceded by the same ritual humiliation broadcast messages mocking humanity's pathetic technology and inferior evolution. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Kim, her voice steady despite the overwhelming odds, "they're broadcasting on all frequencies again." The main screen flickered to life, revealing Admiral Kithara's chitinous features. Her voice carried the harmonics of a species that had evolved from hive insects, each word accompanied by subsonic frequencies that induced fear in most carbon-based life forms. "Primitive mammals," she began, her 4 eyes gleaming with contempt. "You pilot machines, while we have transcended such crude limitations. Our ships are alive, growing stronger with each battle. Your metal coffins will provide nutrients for our hull gardens." Behind her, Webb could see the Vorthan war beasts, massive creatures bred specifically for space combat, their carapaces serving as natural armor, while organic weapon pods sprouted from their flanks like malignant tumors. "We offer you one mercy," Kithara continued. "Surrender now, and we will consume only 90% of your fleet. The survivors may retreat to tell your species of Vorthan superiority." Webb exchanged glances with his crew. They had all heard the recordings from the destroyed colonies, the screams as Vorthan bioweapons dissolved human soldiers from the inside out, the footage of entire cities being digested by aggressive fungi that the enemy deployed like carpet bombs. "Open a channel," Webb ordered quietly. Kithara's image stabilized as the transmission linked. "So, the mammals wish to beg. How refreshing." "No begging today," Webb replied, his voice carrying the calm of a man who had already accepted death. "Just wanted you to know we upgraded." The Vorthan admiral's mandibles twitched in what passed for laughter. "Upgraded? You pathetic creatures still." Her words died as the Defiance began to change. The battleship's hull plates shifted and separated, revealing something that defied conventional understanding of human technology. Beneath the scarred exterior lay not more metal, but a crystalline superstructure that pulsed with contained energy. What the Vorthans had mistaken for crude welding marks were actually quantum field generators, and the patches were metamaterial composites that could reorganize themselves at the molecular level. "Project Ouroboros," Webb said softly, more to himself than to the enemy. "We learned from the best teachers our mistakes." The Defiance wasn't just a battleship anymore. It was a weapon system that humanity had built by studying every alien technology they had encountered, then improving upon it with the single-minded determination that had carried them from stone tools to starflight in mere millennia. The ship's transformation accelerated. Biomechanical systems emerged from hidden compartments, not crude copies of Vorthan technology, but hybrids that combined organic adaptability with human engineering precision. The vessel's hull began to breathe, its surface rippling as living metal components integrated with synthetic biology that made Vorthan evolution look like a first draft. "Impossible," Kithara hissed, her certainty cracking. You cannot have organic technology requires millions of years of guided evolution. 12 months, Webb corrected. We're fast learners. The truth was more complex than he made it sound. Humanity had indeed captured Vorthan bioships, but rather than simply copying them, human scientists had done something characteristically audacious. They had improved the design. Where Vorthan biotechnology was limited by evolutionary constraints, human engineering had no such restrictions. They had created hybrid systems that combined the best of organic adaptability with synthetic precision. The Defiance opened fire first, but not with conventional weapons. Instead, it deployed swarms of hybrid drones, part machine, part engineered organism that moved with the fluid grace of living creatures while carrying payloads designed by human weaponeers. Each drone was essentially a flying ecosystem, capable of adaptation and reproduction, but guided by quantum processors that made tactical decisions at light speed. The Vorthan bioships tried to respond, their organic weapon systems unfurling like deadly flowers. But the human drones adapted faster than Vorthan evolution could compensate, their synthetic biology rewriting itself in real time to counter each defensive measure. Admiral Kithara watched in growing horror as her war beasts creatures that had dominated space for centuries began to succumb to what appeared to be a more aggressive form of life. The human bioweapons weren't just attacking, they were learning, evolving, becoming more efficient with each engagement. How? She transmitted desperately. Evolution doesn't work this way. You're right, Webb replied. Evolution is slow, random, inefficient. Engineering is fast, directed, and optimized. We took your billion-year advantage and compressed it into a year of focused development. The Defiance itself had become something unprecedented, a ship that was simultaneously alive and artificial, organic and synthetic, evolved and designed. Its hull pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that mimicked Vorthan communication protocols, but the messages it sent were crafted by human programmers who understood psychological warfare. The Vorthan fleet began to break. Their bioships, bred for aggression and dominance, found themselves facing something that out-evolved them in minutes rather than millennia. The human hybrid systems adapted to every Vorthan tactic, countered every biological weapon, and then improved upon the captured technology. This is impossible, Kithara repeated, but her voice now carried harmonics of fear, a frequency that her own species used to signal submission to a superior predator. The remaining 11 human ships had been watching, recording, learning. Now they too began their transformation, their hulls shifting to reveal similar hybrid systems. What the Vorthans had dismissed as a primitive fleet was actually a testbed for humanity's next evolutionary leap, not biological evolution, but technological transcendence guided by human ingenuity. Within hours, the Vorthan armada was either destroyed or fleeing. Those few bioships that survived carried a new message across the galaxy. Humanity had not just matched alien technology, they had surpassed it by refusing to be limited by the rules that govern natural evolution. The Defiance hung in space, its hybrid hull now bearing new scars that were already beginning to heal through engineered biological processes. The ship was no longer purely human technology, but it was undeniably human in its audacity, a fusion of captured alien science and human determination to not just survive, but dominate. Commander Webb looked out at the debris field that had once been the mighty Vorthan fleet. His ship pulsed gently around him, its organic components integrating seamlessly with his neural implants, creating a symbiosis that no purely biological or mechanical system could achieve. "Signal Earth Command," he ordered. "Tell them the field test was successful. Project Ouroboros is ready for full deployment." The galaxy had learned another hard lesson about humanity. They didn't just adapt to challenges, they transformed them into advantages, turning every defeat into data for the next victory.